I suffered a spinal cord injury when I was a teenager at a beach near my home where I was growing up, and what I did was I dove off a rock jetty and hit a rock underwater that I didn't see. So I'm a C4 or 5 quadriplegic. I also at that time fractured my C1 and C2. So a lot of my injury when they moved me from the water line up to the berm, because with a spinal cord injury, you don't really want to move anybody around. But I understood why. I mean, I was covered in blood and the water was coming up around me. And I don't think that was a bad decision. It's just, we were kids. People don't know I'm as high a quad as I am just because, I had such good therapy, and strength to me is absolutely key. So and I think being an athlete at the time, being, a surfer and a water polo player, this was kind of ingrained in me, like the hard work. So, for me, it was just like, okay, I'm just going to have to work through this. And so I felt pretty good about doing all the things that I needed to do. So care wise, I really had good nursing care most of the time. All of that in the hospital is kind of a blur in a sense. I think we had one nurse that we didn't like, but I'm kind of always in a good mood. So fortunately, that bodes well for people who want to come in and work with me. Chose Costa Clina because the nursing care was supposed to be superior. That would be a big deal, with my rehab. That day in and day out, those were the people that would be the nurses' aides, and the nurses were going to be the ones who were on the front line with my care. So, that's why we chose that. So I had pretty good experience. Obviously, you're not choosing the people who work with you. So there are times when your personalities don't mix. They try to prep you as much as possible. When you're in the rehab hospital, you're going to these little meetings and, you're seeing, how to deal with pressure sores because that's going to be a big one for people's lives. Sexuality, living independently, all these things. And you're going through these things and, they're throwing a lot at you. And I kind of feel like, my memories of the time, in retrospect, the only thing that I would think, and they didn't know this at the time, is, which I have told you about, the thing that I'm dealing with now is syringomyelia, the syrinx that I have, that would have been great to let know, but they didn't know about those at the time. So that's kind of a new phenomenon. Awesome. But I felt like by and large they did a pretty good job with preparing us, but really nothing can prepare you for what you're going to have to do at home. My friend's sister was at Cal, and she said there's lots of disabled people here, and I don't know why, but I'll check it out for you. And she checked it out, and it turned out they had a program which is called the DORM program, which allows people who have severe disabilities, such as myself, who need attendant care, to allow them to come to the school. They have full-time attendants available. That'll help you get up, get to class, get food, get to bed, catheterize, do the things you need to do. The other thing was in the state of California, we have something called IHSS, In-Home Supportive Services. And so that is the state gives you money to hire your own attendants to do that independently. And to me, that's the independent living movement is super, super critical. That allows me to just hire people I want. And so I'm always surrounded by the most amazing attendants in the world. I have people, they're my friends. I love them. Yeah. Activity, in Berkeley, there's everything. There's the Independent Living Center. There's a place where I used to work called the World Institute on Disability. It's Disneyland for the disabled here. It's pretty cool. I always think kindness and support is the way to go. I don't really know that unless you personally know somebody with a spinal cord injury, I mean, kind of intimately in the sense that you know their lives, there's really not anything you can say to them. All my best experiences with nurses have been, every time I have to go to the hospital, whether it's been for pneumonia or I've had an infection, and I have amazing experiences. I mean, some of my best friends are nurses. Kindness is really the main thing that separates a good nurse from another one. A patient nurse, a kind nurse. Life is I just love life, so I like to seize as much of it as I can.